How long have you been in the Navy?
Oh, me blooming life.
I'm Jamie Britt.
And I'm Heath Britt.
And together we are E14. We have 40 years of naval service.
And each week we discuss a potpourri of topics, which we like to call smoke pit topics.
These are real world topics that concern us, our marriage, and our Navy with a sailor twist.
So join us each week as we dive into the deep end.
Booyah! Hey everybody, welcome back to E14 Podcast. I'm Jamie Britt.
And I'm Heath Britt.
And together we are E14. So this is actually the Sailor's Voice Live. And typically what we do on the Sailor's Voice Live is we go out in town, find a sailor doing their thing, and
ambush them.
Ask them leadership questions. But the topic today is such an important topic that we wanted to go ahead and let our guest prepare, but instead of ambushing her, but today we have ABE2 Robinson.
Hey guys.
Welcome. Speaking of today's topic, it is a tough topic. So let me go ahead and put a disclaimer out there, okay?
Yes.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast and on this live video are those of our own and not the United States Navy or our respective commands.
So take it or leave it.
Right.
And I beg you, please don't NJP my ass.
Seriously, I don't need one.
All right. So the reason why I say this is such a sensitive topic, we're going to be talking about the CNO's message on extremism. It brings up a lot of feelings on both sides. So we're going to just bring this out, and we want you, our listeners, to comment. Let us know your thoughts on it. And, it's just such an important topic that needs to be discussed, that we didn't want to just do this on the fly, or
Right.
we want to really take our time and go with it.
Mhm.
So Heath, you want to read the actual CNO's message? That
I
way
will.
we can all be on the same page.
Everybody bear with me. I have a Louisiana education, so I'm going to do my best. This is from the CNO. Shipmates, I am certain the vast majority of men and women in the United States Navy serve with honor, character, and integrity. But we cannot be under any illusions that extremist behaviors do not exist in our Navy. Just in the past few weeks, there have been 2 separate incidents where symbols of hate and violence are anonymously left in living space and living areas aboard ships in our fleet. The chain of command took both of those incidents seriously and immediately launched investigations, which are ongoing. But there is more we must do together, because these symbols are contrary to our Navy culture, core values, and warfighting effectiveness. As directed by the Secretary of Defense and across the fleet, each command will conduct a stand down by April 6, 2021 to address extremism within our ranks. We must better understand the scope of the problem, get after the issue, and eliminate conduct that is driven by extremist beliefs. No doubt this is a leadership issue. We will own this. As a Navy uniform and civilian, active and reserve, we cannot tolerate extremist behavior of any kind. We must engage in open and honest conversations with each other and take action. Leaders at all levels must lead by example. You must set the tone. You must model correct behavior 24/7, 365 in person and online. We also have a responsibility to educate and inspire those in the Navy, those coming into the fleet, and those leaving our service. And extremist behavior is unacceptable. Hate and extremist ideology are wedges that divide us. These actions stroke resentment and tear others down. That's the opposite of how we will treat each other as shipmates. We build each other up, we encourage each other, and we celebrate our shipmates' success. We do not eliminate extremist behaviors from our Navy, then racism, injustice, indignity, and disrespect will grow and continue to keep us from reaching our potential and exclusive, respectful, professional fighting force that answers the nation's call. We must first question the intentions of our shipmates standing the watch with us now, and especially when taking fire. We will fail when the nation needs us most in combat. Some sailors may think their voices do not matter right now, or feel frustrated seeking to be seen and be heard. But let me be clear, each of your voices matter. This stand down is another in our effort to listen, learn, and improve. Now, this is the time for us to come together and be guided by a strong moral compass. We must eliminate extremist behavior and its coercive effects on the fighting force. And we must remember that we swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution above all else. Today and every day, our Navy must be a shining example of an organization centered on respect, inclusive of all. Simply put, we must demand of each other and we treat everyone with dignity and respect. That is how we will become a stronger Navy.
Man. So not
Powerful.
only is our nation dealing with this at this time, but
I need a drink. I need a drink for this topic.
no, but it's
Strong one.
you know, so many times we think that when we're in the Navy, that whatever the nation is going through, it kind of doesn't apply to
Right,
us.
like we're exempt, like it
We're
doesn't
like in
happen.
this
Right.
little bubble. We're all
Right.
shipmates, and it's
So
found its
wonderful.
way.
And
Yeah.
and honestly, I think the majority is the truth. Like the CNO said, most of us are,
Right.
but there's always a few assholes out there that can't get over their own selves.
That's
Sure.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, and the symbols of hate. I mean, did you look it up and see what the incidents were?
Yes.
Oh, you did.
I
Awesome.
did.
Yeah. So,
Let me pull it up.
like I said, a lot of us are like, well, we just see all blue and there's no division in the Navy. But the reality is, if it's happening at one command or two commands or whatever, then it could happen anywhere. And we all need to be prepared on how to deal with it and how to recognize it.
Right.
And it's important as leaders to squash it.
Yeah.
It's got to be squashed, and it's got to be faced with harsh and swift punishments. I just don't think there's a place for it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rob.
So the two incidences, one was a noose that was found on the ship hanging from a African American service member's rack, and the other one was hate speech that was found written on the wall of the ship.
Wow.
Wow.
So, I mean, these hate symbols stem back from like the 1940s, right?
Right.
A noose. And I even said this today at work. I was like, we're still using
Like who does that anymore?
Yeah,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
does that anymore? And I was
It's old news.
That's-
You
Right.
were like, no, it's
It happens,
literally
right.
happening.
It's happening
today.
every day, obviously more than it should, because it should never happen. But
Yeah, and to me, it's more critical because on a ship we live together, we eat together,
Do
we work
everything
together. It's
together.
not like we're out to sea and we go home at the end of the day.
Right.
No, we hop in the rack next to another guy.
yes,
You could be you could be white, he could be purple, green, black, or brown. I mean,
right,
it could be anybody. It shouldn't matter.
right,
It's somebody that we trust to cover our six
Mhm.
in a tight situation or in a bad
Right.
situation. And I tell you what, if I'm a black guy and I got a guy hanging a noose from my rack, I'm not going to trust that guy when
no,
it
absolutely
hits
not.
the fan.
No.
Which
and-
could harness, or it could make it bad. Like the whole morale of the ship is
Terrible. That
It
one little
divides
incident,
us completely.
Yeah.
And on the ship is when you guys need to be
tight.
tight, because
Tight.
anything could happen.
Like brothers and
Yeah,
sisters, right?
Exactly.
So, like, even thinking about, wow, I worked with that guy. You're like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
whoever it was, wow, I worked with that guy.
You never knew
and
it.
Never knew it.
Right.
And I can't believe they're, and just kind of separating the ship. Like, everybody's looking over their shoulder.
Right,
like,
because it's not going to be between them two now. It's everybody on the ship.
Yeah.
Well, who else is like this?
Spreads like a virus.
Exactly. So
wow.
I just want to put out that E14 podcast. I know I speak with a lot of my brothers and sisters and brothers and sisters in the military. We do not, extremists of any type are bad. They're like a cancer that eat away at our society, eat away at our Navy, eat away at our military. And there's not a place for it. I don't care
Agreed.
what it is. There's not a place for it.
And we have a comment here. Great conversation to be had. I think that the hard thing when dealing with extremism is just what types of extremism are we talking about? And it is such an easy area to let emotions and sides of the aisle play into what is viewed as extremism, just speaking honestly. And it really does become a division when you have, so I can understand commands having this apprehension of, oh my gosh, we've got to have a stand
right, this awkward
We've got to
conversation.
Yes.
address this
How do we
topic.
bring it up?
If we're going to have this obvious division
Mhm.
when you have it, because there's people that believe one way and there's people
Right.
that believe another.
You know, you have a very good point, and it's sensitive, but nobody twisted your arm to sign that dotted line
Right.
and join up.
Mhm.
So if you're not down, then get the hell out.
Exactly.
If you're not down, row. You can carry your ass, because I don't need it. I don't want to be in charge or or have somebody in charge of me.
Right.
That,
I don't know. I don't
that
want to
views
work
that
with
way.
them.
No,
If
don't want to
that's
be
how
around
they
them.
feel,
Don't
then
want to be around them. They don't need to be in our Navy.
exactly.
Carry your ass. Get out.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's such a divisive topic, and I can understand that a lot of leaders are just kind of thinking like, "Oh, how should we go about this?" And I think that the only way, and this is my opinion, is to throw the elephant out in the room.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
And it's like it's on
There's
everybody's
not a
mind.
slow way to bring it up, or try to beat around the bush.
Right.
Just you have to just do it. Just do it.
And it's on everybody's mind. I think there's a lot of people that want to talk about it more than you think.
Yes.
And I think that all it takes is that one guy to bring it up in a controlled
Right.
environment.
Mhm.
See, I think that's also what they're nervous about. It's that it's going to bring a lot of stuff to light, and that might create more division.
Or hurt feelings or
Exactly.
whatnot.
And
Right.
it's a lot to deal with, especially in the Navy and the military.
Right.
They try to avoid that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
And the CNO even pointed that out. He said, hate divides us. And I
Mhm.
think even Martin Luther King said,
Mhm.
hate cannot drive out hate. And we talked about this at work today because we actually had a mini stand down
we had a
of
good
our
conversation.
own.
Yeah.
But it is hate that is stemmed, that is passed down from generation
Mhm.
to generation to generation.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of spoke on their background. Me being Hispanic, and then we look at people's skin color. And me and Rob always laugh because we're both recruiters, okay? And we'll walk into a school and people will speak to me versus speak to her.
And I'm more white.
She's half white.
I am half white. She has no
Zero.
white in her at all, but it's
Zero.
literally based on the color of my skin, and it's noticeable.
Right.
They will go straight to her and ask her all the questions, and I'm sitting there like, I'm not there at all.
And I am Hispanic and I do have light skin, but nobody, I mean, like if I was a darker Hispanic woman, I
Right.
don't think that they would do that. But it's just so funny because we look at the color of a skin and not even know where
Right.
that person came from.
Right.
or
And
where
not
they
even
came
just
from.
our skin, it's our sex.
Mhm.
If we go with one of our male recruiters, kids will go, a lot of the male kids,
Right.
even the females, they'll go talk to him all day because they feel like he's the image of military,
of the Navy or the military.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
And before they come talk to me and her, and we'll have more knowledge than
Yeah,
he
and
does,
they would,
but
Right.
it's just, it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people, especially around here, we're not like in San Diego or Virginia, where a fleet concentration area. A lot of these people don't know.
Right.
I mean, y'all might be the first people they've seen in uniform in
That's
a long
true.
time. They don't.
Yeah.
I know. I
That's true.
never saw anybody in the military where I grew
Right.
up in Central Louisiana. Nothing. We had an army base maybe 45 minutes away, but
Yeah, I didn't see anybody in uniform either. So when
Right.
I do go home and I wear my uniform, people are
Oh, yeah.
staring at me
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what? Like,
I don't have to pay for anything if I'm in uniform.
exactly.
And tell the story about when you first got down here. You were at the gas station.
Oh yeah. So I was in my gov car. So obviously, I was in uniform and I was getting out to pump gas, minding my own business. And this older gentleman, he's white, he pulled up behind me and he was just kind of staring at me. And I was like, I wonder why is he looking at me
Right.
like this? So he was like, well, that's interesting. That's all he said. And I was like, well, what's interesting, sir? He was like, you're in the military? I said, yes, sir. He was like, since when did women serve? And I
Back in
was
my
like,
day.
right. So I was like, well, it's been a long time now. I work with a lot of females, and then he was like, and a black woman at that. And I was like, it just baffled me because I'm like, it happened in 2019, maybe. I was like, it's 2019. Like, do you even watch TV?
You know,
Like,
I've
or
been
do
in
you
the Navy for a hot minute, and I've never not been stationed with females or black females.
Right.
I've always
It
been
was just,
stationed.
it literally blew my mind. I couldn't, obviously, I'm in uniform. So I
Right, you
was
can't
like,
be right.
well, have a good day, sir.
What
I
are you
got
gonna
in my
say?
gov.
What
And then
can you say, right?
I said something else in my gov, but I'll just drove away because I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, it
Where were
blew
you
my
at? Were
mind.
you around here in this
Yeah, I
area?
was in, off of, like, where Fremont Town Center, that racetrack over there.
Okay.
And it just, yeah, it blew my mind because I was like, well,
And this is so close to New Orleans.
yeah,
Yeah,
you would think.
I
I
can't
don't know.
believe
It baffles me.
It's just, and we throw the word ignorant out there a lot in different contexts,
Mhm.
and I think now that might be fall under the context of
Oh yeah,
just
he was ignorant.
ignorance.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple.
He just didn't know
ignorant-
better.
Ignorant and
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
His mind was stuck back in
You know,
like
I
the
get asked all
40s,
the time
50s.
if I'm a wave, and I'm like, what are you like? No.
Are you a wave? I've seen that post. Are you
Yeah.
a wave?
Are you a wave?
What?
No, we don't have that.
Right.
No, but
They probably
crazy.
joined. They probably joined in World War II. They didn't think.
Right,
They didn't think anything
exactly.
evolved since then.
yeah, but we were talking about the word ignorant,
Mhm.
and when it comes to dividing
Yeah.
these sides, and one of the guys that we work with, he asked a question out of curiosity about Trayvon Martin, which happens to be the anniversary of his hearing today.
The death is today, I
The
believe.
death. And he asked the question, and like, what happened to
Like whatever happened to what was the outcome
what
pretty
was
much.
the outcome of the case? And he got called ignorant, and I was like, well, that's not fair.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can't know everything about everything,
Agreed.
Right.
So I think we should be careful with the ignorant word, but
Well,
Right.
instead of just being immediately
Offended or
offended, it's more of, well, let me explain it to you.
right.
Let me
Right.
help you
Right.
understand.
And that's perfectly
so
acceptable.
that you can take that knowledge and know it.
Yeah.
That's all. It's so simple. Just like you said, you can't drive out hate with hate.
Right.
If somebody
Right.
does not know something, I'm perfectly fine. People, they ask me all the time certain questions about sexuality, gender, race, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, you didn't know that? Well, this is what it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, you're ignorant because you don't know everything about everything.
That's why
Right.
I brought up I was like, well, do you know what the square root of 574 is? No, you're ignorant.
Right, right, it's the
Nobody
same
knows
thing.
everything.
Exactly.
Right.
So if they're asking the question, they're interested in
Mhm.
learning.
And they're trying to understand.
Exactly.
And
So-
we need to
And
be
you have to
sensitive.
respect that.
Encourage
I
it.
respect it.
We
Yeah.
need to be
You know,
sensitive to that.
At least they care enough to want to know
Mhm.
instead
Yeah.
of just immediately dismissing it like, well, who cares what happened?
Right.
Instead, he was like, well, what happened? Somebody explain it to me. And I did. I explained it to him today. And he was like, wow, I look at it a whole different
Right?
view now. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's all it took.
Right.
Just like this,
Instead of just attacking him.
Exactly.
And again, it's because of the color of the skin. It all boils down to the color of the skin that we attack each other for
Mhm.
different things, and we just think that we know that person or what they
Their
stand
background,
for
just because, right.
because of the color of the skin.
And there's a lot of talking all over the media too that don't help things. It's just tension.
It is.
A lot of it's tension. A lot of it is people watch the news. The news is not always the best example of somebody's
Absolutely not.
character.
No.
Honestly, I
try to avoid it, to be honest.
right. I watch a little bit of everything, trying to get a perfect medium as best I
Right.
can, but it doesn't help.
It does.
That's why do the research on your own.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody, strike up a conversation. That's what I love about here is that you can go talk to anybody.
Mhm.
People are open.
Right. They're very open.
And they're really nice. I mean,
It's
you can
really
like,
in the South,
Yeah.
Conversation with you in the parking lot.
Exactly. You have
Yeah.
no idea what this person's name is, but they just explained everything. And you're just like, oh, okay.
wow. And just, start.
Even with COVID, so this is the ultimate, like with us being all separated
Mhm.
and not able to open up in these conversations, it has created, and then we're all watching TV, and so then we all slowly just get, very, very separated, and it's just
Create this mindset to where it's like,
almost
so then when you do
paranoia.
meet up, like even just at work, it's the tension can still
You're
be there
already-
because your mind's made up. You've
Yeah.
watched the news. You have
You're
your
already
own
pissed
opinion.
off about something.
Right, and then on top of COVID, everyone's already pissed off. 'cause of
Right.
COVID,
Right.
You know,
especially,
so-
especially the Navy.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
you know.
No, but just like someone said they like your red T-shirt.
Oh, thanks. The Nike outlet, it was like 15 bucks.
Just a little plug.
Right.
Yeah, a little plug for Nike. Like they need more money.
Right.
We give them half our paychecks.
Yeah, right.
on the shoes. But no, back to what we were talking about with the COVID thing. You know, he had COVID
Mhm.
Mhm.
in November, and in that 2 weeks, he was locked up in a room. He was paranoid.
I went batshit crazy.
I bet.
No, I thought I thought the most extreme things about everything. I mean, I thought like I don't want to get into it, but I was crazy.
I mean, even the first when COVID first hit and our command said everyone works from home.
Yeah.
I was by the first week, I was like, this is easy. I love this.
Oh yeah,
I'm relaxing.
I took
It's
a-
great. But
I-
then the second week hit, and I'm like, when can we go back to the office? I just need human interaction. I just
Right.
want to talk. I just want to see
When
somebody.
we
Are you a
finally-
social butterfly?
Right.
No,
I am.
but like the first day we all got back in the office, we
We're
were
like,
like,
what's
"Hey,
going on?
You know,
What have you been up to?
I don't know. Jamie remembers we took that picture. The kids were kayaking, and we were I was smoking a cigar. We were having a drink, and we took a picture with the kids in the background. Yeah, this quarantine shit's terrible.
Right.
And I was
Well,
like,
yeah, but once it was in the
It wore
beginning,
off.
it was scary. Because
Yeah.
in the beginning, it was like, if you get it, you're dead. And it
Right.
was just like,
Well-
whoa. So it was, we didn't go out even in nature when you're by yourself. But we can do that because you're by yourself.
right,
You're not around a lot of people. But it was like a lot of people don't do that regularly.
right,
We had
right.
to learn how to do extra stuff in COVID because we're
Yeah.
quarantined. I didn't go out in nature before COVID hit.
Right.
But then COVID's here, and I'm like, well, there's nothing else to do.
I love nature.
I'm gonna bring my dog on a hike, And then you find peace with that, and
It
you're
is.
just like, well,
yeah, why didn't I do this?
Therapeutic.
yeah, why didn't I do it
Yeah.
before?
Right.
I don't know.
I wouldn't have started this podcast probably if it wasn't for COVID.
Hey, there
So
you go.
COVID is a little positive.
Yeah.
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 But, as we were watching TV and the pandemic was at its height, then broke out the protest,
Mhm.
and just a little sidebar. I am Rob's mentor,
The best mentor.
and so she was getting ready to go to these protests that were in New Orleans, and I was like, I don't want you to go. And it wasn't because I wanted to silence you or
Mhm.
censor you or keep you from doing what you want to do outside of your uniform. It was because there were extremists out there.
Mhm.
There were people that were, challenging the police,
Right.
and the police were having to react, and it was just scary.
It was. Yeah.
And it was just a really difficult time to see our nation going back and forth,
Mhm.
and they're saying police brutality, and they're saying, well, we're just reacting to
Right.
what you're doing, and it was so crazy. And as a military member, how did you feel like in that time where you wanted to be there, and then you were like, I was like, please don't go.
Right. I didn't end up going.
Yeah.
Mainly because I had like my niece and nephew were at the house, so I was like, well, I'll just stay home. I did want to go only because I wanted, I'm just one person, but it's still like my voice still could be heard.
Right.
It was more of the principle.
Yeah.
But I did think about, okay, I am in the military. I am a Black female. And it was scary because I'm like, I could go out here and something seriously could happen to me.
Yeah.
And just because I'm marching for a voice, it's hard. It's like it's an internal battle, to
Yeah.
be honest.
And you think about back in the day, like Rosa Parks, where she was like, "Nope, I'm not going to the back of the
Right.
bus." Like,
Yeah.
how hard was that?
Right.
That was like when it was normal for
Yeah.
her to sit in the back. It was like a
exactly.
total against all of society.
Mhm,
And she,
exactly.
but she wasn't in the military.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that is that
Uh,
holds me back, because it's like you said, if you're not
Right.
in uniform, you're still a human.
No, you still have your rights.
Your rights, exactly.
Right. And I think every human, military or not, has the right to protest, peacefully protest.
Right.
That is our God-given right as American.
Exactly.
And that's what our founding fathers made sure we had that right.
Right.
But once you get violent, then in the military, that's where it stops.
Yeah.
But you would definitely have the right. If you think there's an injustice, you have the right to say something. Definitely.
Which I did. I mean, I made signs and I passed
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, at least my signs are out there, so
Right,
people still
right.
know. And even just
And you're
on
like
Facebook.
a really good artist too. So
Right.
I was like,
didn't know that. You're an
But
art. You're
I had
artsy.
some art. I drew the. Did you show him the?
No, I didn't show it to him yet.
I drew the octopus. So for
Yeah.
her.
Oh,
Mhm.
on the sign. Oh, that's cool. That's good.
Thanks. I need to. I actually started drawing more during COVID because I was like, I used to love doing this, and I stopped doing it.
Ready to hit the
I
bars
really forgot
instead.
what I was saying. So.
No, we were saying the signs. You drew the signs.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say even just on Facebook, you know, still saying what I had to say on Facebook, even though it might not be out there marching and showing
Hmm.
face, it was still a this is what I believe and this is what I'm
Right.
going to tolerate. I lost a bunch of Facebook friends, family
Over that.
over that.
That's silly.
People showed their true colors.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know it's social media. You're
Right.
supposed to say your opinion and but I was just like, well, I just don't have to see it.
Right.
know?
I just, I believe, like I said before, I try to remain apolitical, which what you did wasn't political. It was a movement, right?
Right.
But I try to just remove myself. I have my opinions, and I know I vote, but I
Mhm.
try to remain centered. We're gonna keep talking because
I'm not sure.
Jamie's over there doing some technical stuff.
Yeah, the battery.
The battery's running low on the computer. She's gonna plug
Oh,
it in
okay.
real quick. But no, I think that really this whole thing showed a lot of people's true
A
colors.
lot. It did, which is kind of a positive
Yeah.
because you never realized who you were serving with.
Right.
You never realized who certain family members. You were like, even if it's family, if you just don't need that type of negativity in your life, then
Right.
don't have it.
Right.
So
Right.
it showed you people's true colors, who they really were, and I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah, and the thing about family is that they don't have to agree with you. They're still your family, and they shouldn't. They should try to support you,
Right.
even if they don't totally agree with you, just
Mhm.
because they love you, right? Yeah.
And then we wanted to kind of just touch on, and you did touch on it a little bit, Heath, but every voice matters.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it, extremism, the way the CNO put it, and I really appreciate what he said on both sides.
Yes.
Is bad because
Right.
there's extreme, and it's so sad that we have sides, right?
It should be what military,
right?
one team, one fight.
Yeah, like my dad
Yeah.
used to say, like separate we're weak, together we're
Mhm.
strong. You can't. I mean, this is a weak defense. This is a strong defense, but we are sides. So it's every person has a voice, and every voice matters.
Right.
And unless you're an extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then your voice does not matter.
Take you and your boy hit the road,
Right,
Jack.
exactly. We don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but every voice matters, and we need to understand that instead of saying, "Well, you don't agree with me, and I don't want to hear what you have to say."
Right.
Or for the simple fact that we have a chief who works with us. He is from Selma.
Mm-hmm.
And let's give the background about Selma.
Yeah, so you go.
Well, it was one of the main MLK marches
Yes.
in Selma
Yeah, I mean,
back in the '60s.
Right.
So it has a lot of history with civil rights.
Right. If you don't know, there's a movie.
It's
came
a
out
great
in-
movie.
It,
I actually watched
it came
it.
out in 2014.
Great
It's a
movie.
great movie. If you don't understand, just watch that movie.
It was a good movie. I watched it.
All I says about
Two
it,
thumbs up.
watch the movie.
Because it's one of those movies where you have to watch it to understand. I can sit here and explain it and just be like, oh, okay, it was a march, it was a movement. But when you watch it, it might bring tears to your eyes.
It was deep.
Just because that's what happened in real life. And it was like, man, like what if that happened in today's, like, it would be a civil war.
Yeah.
It would be crazy.
But
true.
he was actually telling us what it was like growing up there, and probably the 80s. He was growing up in the 80s.
Yeah, I think he's like
So-
40.
I don't know. It's 70.
Maybe 70.
He's younger than I am, guys. Come on.
He might be. I don't even know.
He's a good bit younger
He's
than
balding though.
me. He's,
I would say he probably grew up in the 70s.
who you talking about? In Selma? No, he didn't grow up in the '70s or '80s. He probably grew up probably your age. He's probably your age.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, possibly.
Anyway.
Damn. I got you, bro. If you're watching.
No, but he was talking about growing up there and the things that happened as he was growing up
Mhm.
as a young black boy in Selma, Alabama. And he was just like, people used, as they were walking home from school, people used to let their dogs
Hmm.
loose on them and chase them, or what was the other thing he said as they were walking home, or you know, yell at
He would,
them.
yeah, he would avoid. He wouldn't know, if he walked into a store or something and there was a certain, a white man in there. He didn't know
Hmm.
if he should run or if he was going to have to fight or if he was going to have to protect himself. Like that's how his life was growing up.
That's how it was until he joined the Navy.
Right. And that was only, like she said, well, we don't know the exact days, but it had to be in the 70s.
He's
So
been
that's
in
only.
less than me. I'll put that right now.
Okay,
Okay, so he's
so
been in less than 20 years. So,
yeah, because I think he said he has 2 years left.
okay, see?
But
Regardless, it's like it shouldn't have happened in that time frame.
this
Whenever
wasn't
it
that long
was,
ago.
it
I
wasn't
know,
that long
and,
ago.
and like some of us still think like, oh, that was just back in the day, but it really
Right. No,
wasn't
back in the
that
day
far
was
back in the day.
30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy to even think about.
Yeah.
And still in some areas it's like that.
Oh, it's very much alive.
And I know Selma, I've never been there. I'm assuming it's not a very big town.
Mm-mm.
Uh, so it's small town America.
Mhm.
I grew up in central Louisiana, very small town, probably about the size of this neighborhood.
Good
People
Lord.
wise, people wise,
All
but it
right.
was
Okay.
bigger. Okay. I think I had about 1,500 people.
Okay.
I graduated with 30, so pretty small, right? And I don't know how it was before me, but for me, it seemed like everybody got along pretty good. I played basketball, I played in sports.
Hmm.
Went a lot of demographic. There was black and white,
Right.
but there was a couple. There's always had your stupid kid stuff
Hmm.
that go down every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm still friends with every one of the guys I graduated with, even some that graduated before me. Actually, we talk on Facebook
Right.
sometimes and hit them up. I guess maybe that's the benefit of growing up in such a small
Hmm.
town
Mhm.
that you know everybody,
Right.
and everybody knew my family because my family had been there forever,
Hmm.
and we all seemed to get along. I never noticed, but I don't know everything. I don't know how it was to another person,
Right.
just
Exactly.
through my eyes.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I felt lucky to grow up where I grew up, but I'm not sure if everybody else feels that way.
Right.
You know,
Well, yeah, so it was a small town, but it was still very racially
Hmm.
divided. And he was just telling us that that is his point of view when he walks into every situation, even today
I'll
in
still
2021.
Hmm.
It is how he grew up. It
When he's not
is
in uniform.
always not in
When he
uniform.
said when he's in uniform,
people will shake his
it doesn't.
hand.
Yeah, it doesn't bother him. Which is the
Well,
same thing that I deal with.
Yeah,
mhm.
If I go somewhere dressed how I dress, it's like, they wouldn't even look twice.
you
But when I'm
know,
in uniform, it's, oh, thank you for your service, shaking my hand. And I'm like, I just saw you the other day and you
but
walked right
You
by me,
snubbed me.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell y'all a story that with a white person, and it's not. I know him, and he was out of uniform one time, so he's tatted up pretty well, right? He he walks out of Walmart, and he had the receipt. They still want to search all his bags,
Hmm.
right?
Mm.
Same guy walks in uniform. He's not even in a bag. Not even he's carrying it. Oh, have a good day, sir.
Right.
So it happens.
Right.
It does happen off and on.
But then that has to do with, because when we
Stereotype.
talk
It's a
about
stereotype.
it's
Yeah.
extremism, it's not just because you're black or because you're white.
Right.
It's because you're male. It's because you're female. It's
Right.
because
'Cause you're
your
tatted up.
religious preference.
Straight.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
get the same thing. People
Mhm.
they see me and
Tatted
they
up. Yeah.
assume she's black, she's dreads, she's tatted up, she's
She's automatically a thief.
right, she's a thief, she's a thug,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Grew up in the
Right.
hood. No, I did not any of those things. I'm just a
Right.
person that likes tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you happen to be in an organization that doesn't have a
yeah, they
problem
don't
with.
care.
They don't.
Exactly.
Good.
They encourage it.
Yeah.
Let me
Right.
tattoo.
I have no tattoos.
Yeah, but
I
you're
don't like
right.
needles.
It all somehow, somewhere, we all got to the point where we judge people on the color of their skin, if they got tattoos, if they dress a certain
Right.
way, if they talk a certain way. Because let's say you just grew up in, I don't know,
Louisiana.
Louisiana, or like I was gonna say Texas because we talk so slow.
Right.
Everybody thinks we're slow, but we're really
Right.
not. And like it's just we judge people and we say we put you in a bubble,
Hmm.
and we're like, okay, well you're this way, and you're that way. And that's how we've gone through life. And then now here we are, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how kids have been taught. 'Cause
Exactly.
kids
That's
do
where it
not.
starts. It starts with how
Yeah.
you raise your kids. Because when your
Mhm.
kids are going to grow up like that,
Right.
they're going to have kids and that's all they know. So they're going to teach their kids that. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
just a never ending cycle.
Mhm.
You know, it has to be broken somewhere.
Yep.
It has to.
It needs to be broken. It starts with this generation.
Hmm.
We got to be the ones.
Especially with everything that's happened in the last
year or less.
year. Yeah, a
Yeah.
year. But the last 2 years, 3
Yeah.
years, it's been a lot of stuff has happened that hasn't, like I said, oh, I forgot who I was talking to, but racism has always been here. It
Mhm.
hasn't
Yeah.
disappeared,
Mhm.
you know. But I feel like it's more, people are more bold now because we
Yeah.
have not leadership, but it's like there's no repercussions, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah.
So they're a lot more bold with it, and it was
And
just
I
like,
think that kind of stemmed from social media
Oh.
because
Mhm.
at
Keyboard
first
warriors.
everybody was
Yeah.
a keyboard warrior,
Exactly.
right? Oh, F you, and they're
Yeah.
typing in their house. And now that they've got this weird confidence of being
Mhm.
online that way, they come out and they are just who they are.
Exactly.
And they're people are a lot more comfortable with telling you to your face, you know, these things that they used to just keep in
Right.
their head. Like, you know, back in the day we used to say, oh, if you don't have nothing to say,
Don't say it
nothing
at all. Right. Yeah.
And that's how we lived our lives. And
Mhm.
then social media or the internet came on,
And
we
it's
could
say exactly what's on your mind,
say what's
and
on your mind.
Yeah.
who cares how you
if
make
Yeah.
somebody
people
feel.
did,
Right.
And then you could comment and you could like and you could put the thumbs down or
Right.
the mad face or
Mhm.
whatever. And then we got so confident that we could say it to anybody's
Anybody.
face.
Yep.
And now it's all come. It's like a big explosion of everyone saying how they feel. And the only way, like you said, that we can eliminate this is to start teaching our kids
Mhm.
because those that have gone before us and
It's
whatever,
too late for them
they,
because they're already stuck in their ways. Like
Yeah.
it's
Some-
hard to
some
change
people
people who have
are.
already, if they've been like that their entire life.
Right.
They're not, more than likely they're not going to change. You know, and I'll say, you know, my grandfather,
Mhm.
he is stuck in his ways. You know, it's been, my older brother's 28. You know, his first grandchild was my cousins. They're half Mexican, half white.
Right.
You know, me and my brothers are half black and half white. Never accepted us. Completely against it. Didn't want my mom to have us because he was like, you know, how he was raised.
Right.
It's supposed to be whites only, to be
Right.
honest. You know, he didn't want us to have his last name because he didn't want his last name to turn into a black name.
Mm.
And I found out all of this information within the last year.
Oh, so this is still new to
I'm about to
you.
be 27 years old.
So you're still digesting this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
Right.
It actually came about with the Black Lives Matter movements
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You know, I post on Facebook about how I feel, and he would comment on it. And some of the stuff that he said, I'm like, do you know that you're, you know, responding to your granddaughter?
Yeah.
You know, and I.
How old's your grandpa?
He has to be late 70s.
He's on Facebook. I'm impressed.
Yeah, he's on Facebook.
And
He
he-
posts often. You know, I don't know anymore.
Right.
We're not friends on
Oh,
Facebook.
you deleted him?
Yeah, well, he deleted his Facebook because, you know, after that, it was a long conversation, you know, commenting back and forth. He reached out to, you know, my mom. He was
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to delete my Facebook because I don't, you know, I love you guys and I don't want to start anything.
Right.
I guess he added it back, but didn't add me. He added everybody else in the family.
Oh, but
Which
you.
is fine because, you know, I'm the only one with an opinion and I'm not afraid to speak back, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I respect my elders until
Right.
there's a line, though. There's
Right.
always a line.
Right.
And I was too young to ever say anything because I would notice certain things growing up,
Mhm.
but I was a child.
Yeah.
So I stayed in my place, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a grown woman now. So now I'm going to be like, if you say something, you know, I'm going to say something back.
Well, you're
Yeah.
you're
You
a grown
know?
woman. You know, defending your country.
Right.
Got your on your own 2 feet. Never asked nobody for nothing.
Exactly.
You have the right
exactly.
to defend your
Right. And that's like we were saying
yourself.
earlier, you know, even some family, like I said, families show their true colors. And
Yeah.
I'm at a point in my life where I just don't, if I don't need it, to the left go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
It's
So-
hard to cut off family, but
It
you
is.
have to
Yeah.
take that
Yeah.
negativity
Mhm.
out of your life because guess what? You don't want that around your children one day.
Exactly.
And then their children, and so on and so forth. So at some point, we have to stop sharing the hate down the line,
Mhm.
and somebody has to stop it, and it has to be us. Otherwise, we'll continue
Right.
to have these things, and it has to stop with us, and then our children have to learn right,
Mhm.
and then we just have to eliminate it that way.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I just think it can get better, and it's not going to be everybody at once, little groups at a time. If you sit down and have a conversation,
yeah.
Mhm.
and I
As
think
far
that's the
as-
best way to do it.
As far as the Navy goes, just if you are wondering how you're going to address this with your sailors, I mean,
Just be honest, be
get the
open.
elephant out.
Address the
Just-
elephant in the
Yes.
room.
Just say it.
Yes,
Get
And
it
just
out
say it,
there.
right.
Yeah.
and if somebody's passionate and says something, just let them say it.
Right.
You
It
know,
definitely should be open floor. Don't
Yeah.
worry about repercussions, because that worrying about repercussions is what makes us quiet.
yes,
That makes us
Yes.
not want to bring it up, because we're like, well,
Right.
if we say this, if we say how we truly feel and they don't agree, we're going to get written up, or we're going to get treated differently from that point on. And nobody wants that,
right.
you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah, you got to have an open, honest conversation
Mhm.
about it. Like the lady said, open, bring up the elephant.
Yeah. And, as I guess that's a good ending point for
Yeah.
us, is just to bring up the elephant in our last
right.
tip of the day or whatever it is. Hopefully, just by us coming on live, it gives you the opportunity out there to start having these conversations and start doing this in your offices. And it doesn't have to be like this whole sit down, stand
Right.
down thing. Like,
Right.
just do it with the people you work with.
Mhm.
And you don't need anything formal.
Mm-mm.
And we
No,
don't
not
need
at
the
all.
commanding officer to come in and say, let's do this stand down.
Right.
No.
It can just be you and
Your peers,
coworkers,
yeah. And just
Yeah.
talk it out.
bringing
Yeah.
it up,
Mhm.
And the more we talk about it, the more the darkness comes to light,
Exactly.
and we can get it out there, and we can fight, and we can say whatever we want. But at the end of the day, we all got to come in and work the next day.
Yes.
and
Exactly.
watch
We
each
still have to
other's
put the
back.
uniform
Yes,
on and
you have
go
to do
in, you know?
uniform. And
Yeah.
So,
the Navy's going to be fine. I think the Navy's going to overcome this.
Mhm.
They've been overcoming stuff and crap for 245 years. It's
Right.
no different. They're gonna get better for it. To all have faith in the Navy and its leadership.
definitely.
Yeah. So if you would like to get a hold of us, if you've got some topics or something that you want to say, you can get a hold of us at e14podcast@gmail.com. You can direct message us. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher.
They're like 20.
We've got
Right.
20 different platforms. So
Right.
if you
Choose
can't
one.
find us, just Google it.
Right.
It's your own
We're
damn
Making
fault.
Podcasts.
Right.
And so this is the Sailor's Voice Live for the week, and next week we'll be on the hunt for those sailors out buying their groceries or giving their dog a bath. And
Yep.
find them and ask them leadership questions. But we wanted to give this topic its due
It's
It's
yeah,
due
it's
time.
due time.
and really sit down and discuss it. So
And I'm a tweeter now, so you can find us on Twitter.
he's in charge of it.
I can do it. I've been
Yeah.
hashtagging the hell out of shit.
Just follow us if you want to laugh. He misspells everything. But anyway, thank you so much, Ralph. for
Yeah,
being on
definitely.
tonight.
thanks so
It was
much. It was
fun.
awesome.
Live. I know you were nervous about it.
I
Live-
was.
Live is tough.
But it was good. You guys are very good at just engaging in conversation.
Making you feel comfortable
Yeah,
and
very
wanted. How you like the
comfortable.
studio?
It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
It really is.
Designed it myself.
Did
All
you?
right.
I didn't know.
So
she
you
did.
tweet and design.
She designed
Yeah,
it.
he does
I just
it all.
tweet.
He does it all.
You just jump on, you got your drink, and you just start talking. I got you. I
He
got
does it all.
I just tweet.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and end it.
All right.
you. Before it gets weird.
All right. Listen to us, find us, Google us, and as always, we wish you fair winds.
And following seas.